Welcome, everyone. You've checked into the Win by Two podcast, the home for my post-game show for the Raptors Uprising of the NBA 2K League. I'm excited to be lucky enough to welcome back Michael Singh, team writer for Raptors GC. Michael, thanks for joining again, and how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Hey, no problem, man. I'm happy to do this for you anytime. And I'm happy to, talk NBA 2K League again, especially when the Raptors Uprising are playing the way they're playing.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting last couple days for the team, their fans, for you, with Raptors GC off to the best start in franchise history. How has the last, maybe 40 to 50 hours been for you and the team?
Yeah, it's thrilling for sure. I know you guys can see the guys on social media, they're really excited. They're happy and with what I guess the outcome was, and they're happy with what they got there in Toronto. They're really happy. 1 through 5 there, they're meshed, and I feel like it goes beyond the court. Just seeing Reese on Twitter last night calling out Legit's performance and giving love to his fellow rookie. I think that just shows how all in I guess this team is.
Yeah, it was great to kind of see the love that was kind of being given back and forth between the players, social media team, and then their fans. There really isn't a lot of real downtime during the NBA 2K season, but with the team playing back-to-back series matchups over the last 2 nights, we've almost been treated to our own little version of like a tip-off tournament as fans, haven't we?
Yeah, we definitely have. The series definitely adds to that because Raptors have played 5 games over that course, and lucky enough for them, they've won 4 of those 5 games. Had it been the tip-off, it's a 1-game knockout. If they lost that 1 game, they're out of the tip-off. So, in a way, we are seeing more and more basketball, and it's great to see Raptors Uprising, get off to this great start.
Yeah, no, it's played out appropriately. Considering we almost got that tournament and playoff-like atmosphere on night 2, but I'm really looking forward to discussing last night's series win over Wizards District Gaming. So let's get into it. Let's jump into the analysis. Both game 1 and 2 were basically literally nail biters, with the Raps dropping the first game 67-64, and then they narrowly got out of game 2, winning 67-66. Thankfully, like you said, they closed it out in game 3, 73-63. So I want to try and do our best to start from the beginning here. And because most of that initial game wasn't shown on stream, for people new to the 2K League, Michael, what kind of team were the Raptors GC facing last night, and why were the Wizards able to take game 1 and really almost take game 2 as well?
Yeah, for those who have been following, I guess, the preseason building up to the start of the 2020 NBA 2K League season, they'll know that the Wizards District Gaming have been highly touted. They won the Spring 16 tournament, which was there's a good group of 16 teams in there, and they actually knocked off Raptors Uprising in the first round in another 3-game series. That was all 3 games were nail-biters as well. So for those who have been following, again, they know what this team can do, and they know why they're projected to be almost a lock for a playoff team, one of those top 10 teams. So for Raptors Uprising, for not only for them to win now Tuesday night against 76ers GC, the defending finalist, and then now turn it around and go win against this this shoe-in for a playoff team, it really makes a statement to say this Raptors team is a contender, a real contender for that title perhaps down the line.
Right, and I mean, you have your pundits and your so-called experts, and I guess from an outsider's point of view, and maybe from an unbiased point of view, if you were to look at things on paper, for the Raptors to begin the season scheduled to play the 76ers and the Wizards, not a lot of people would have held it against the Raps to maybe start the season 0-2, but they've turned that literally upside down, and so expectations are high. But like you had mentioned the last time we spoke, this is something the team expects of themselves.
Yeah, definitely. They're a confident group of guys, and they believe what they can do, or they believe in themselves and what they can do. They've won in the past before, as a lot of these guys played on the same Pro-Am team back in 2017 when there was a $250,000 tournament, of course. And the league knows about that, and everyone around the Pro-Am community knows about that, knows what Still Trill can do. A lot of these guys have been a part of Still Trill, and this chemistry is now, being shown off in the court, because you can see on these, even if we want to go back into like some of the games, you can see on the switches just how seamless it is almost, or the cuts, just how, this team's communicating properly, and it shows on the court. So they believe in themselves, circling back to your question, and they beat a good Wizards District Gaming team last night.
Definitely. I love breaking down the matchups, and so let's kind of take a look at the first matchup I want to highlight. Let's begin with Frey and the impact he has on the Wizards team. He's a recognizable name within the 2K community, having been there from the very beginning. We saw how dominant Singh was against the 76ers. What did you think of his matchup against Frey? It almost felt like there was maybe a little bit of a feeling out process for Singh.
Yeah, actually, for whatever reason, I woke up thinking about this matchup again, because it was just so exhilarating to watch. I guess, again, for those who know in the Pro-Am community and NBA 2K League community, they know what Frey can do. And he is one of the best centers in the game, without a doubt. And Singh was definitely holding his own against Frey in the end. And like you said, it took a little bit of feeling out. I feel like, yeah, Singh was trying to find his feet a little bit there early on, but by the end of the night, that matchup completely flipped, and it was Singh who was grabbing the big rebounds when it matters. It was Singh who was grabbing the big boards when it matters, and Singh again played a great part in bringing the ball up the court for Raptors Uprising, and his impact was felt all over the court.
Yeah, I was watching a bit of the game again afterwards, and you had mentioned the key plays that Singh made down the stretch, both in Game 2 and in Game 3, whether it was a key steal, a key board, maybe a key second chance opportunity. But Singh was able to kind of come through. Now, the 2K League has a very strong and heavy, point guard and big meta. So let's break down the other side of the equation here and look at the point guard battle. Obviously, we all know now, Kenny's given us a taste of what he can do as the full-time point guard on the offensive end. But with the number one pick in town in JBM, Kenny and Cook at the top of that zone had to figure out a way to slow JBM down. How do you think they fared? And from your perspective, Michael, what do you think was the game plan?
Honestly, I for my personal opinion, just knowing the team, I think their game plan was just focused on them. And yeah, the idea was to slow down JBM, and Timely was again unreal last night in his bumps and making JBM's life difficult, and that showed as the night wore on. This isn't even in studio with Timely's presence, and it's gonna show over the season how much Timely wears on these point guards, because he's relentless, and if you get by him one time, he'll learn that move and make sure that never happens again for the rest of the series. And over a 3-game series, that shines. And I think last night they adjusted when they had to. And whether that meant, playing off JBM a bit more, whether that meant, making sure the ball isn't getting in his hands like they did with Radiant last night, they adjusted. And Kenny did a great job of playing into his partner's hands there in Timely, because they know each other so well. So whether it was showing JBM to the weak side and knowing Timely or another one of their teammates would be there, or whether it was taking away the 3-pointer because trusting that Singh would have the inside, it was just great to see that trust in one another. And it started again on the defensive end with Timely there.
Right. And, JBM had 28-6 in the Wizards Game 1 win, and an almost, ironic identical stat line in Game 2 with 29-7. But as you said, as the night wore on, they kind of got the better of JBM. He finished with only 15-6 in the decisive Game 3. So just kind of further build on what you said, the Raptors Uprising did a phenomenal job there to eventually contain the Wizards' point of attack. Now, during the last time you were on the show, our first ever post-game show, we couldn't stop showing the love to the duo of Kenny and Singh. And while I have a sneaky feeling that that's going to be a reoccurring theme for the rest of the season, I now want to take a closer look at the trio of Timely Cook, Reese, and Legit. So I'm going to hit you with some numbers here, Michael. Through the first 2 games of the series last night against the Wizards, that trio of Cook, Reese, and Legit averaged only about 17 points combined, with no one out of that group scoring more than 6. But in the final game, the decisive series clinching game, they more than doubled that output and dropped 35 points collectively, with Cook putting up 17. So I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on this special supporting cast and what allowed them to excel when needed the most.
Yeah, and I think the major thing is they don't try to do too much. They really trust in their point guard Kenny there. Whether it be, Legit in the corners when he gets the ball, just trying to do what's asked of him, not trying to do too much, or whether it be Reese again making quick passes when asked to. These guys have bought into the system, and I'll throw some numbers back there. Timely again, he might have not have made the high volume impact that you would see at the offensive end. He still finished the night with 73.3% shooting from the floor. These guys don't take shots unnecessarily because they trust their point guard Kenny to create, and they trust that point guard center duo, like you said. So it's really about Jerry and Singh and Kenny, leading the way while these guys play their roles, and they've bought in.
Yeah, and we've seen teams in the past, you could argue, for and against certain teams, maybe focusing on the isolation style of play too much. We've seen analysts kind of criticize teams or coaches for maybe leaving out or freezing out the rest of the team. And that, it'd be tough to it wouldn't be difficult to maybe give the Raptors a pass, especially with such a dominant offensive player in Kenny, but like you said, it's been so impressive to see everyone buy in and Kenny be willing to kind of go to his teammates when he needs to. Yeah,
exactly. The trust is there for sure, and it's mutual, like you said. It goes both ways. Kenny trusts his teammates, and his teammates trust Kenny, and you're seeing the product of years in the making. That's been years in the making.
Now, you had already kind of touched earlier in the show about that very obvious sense of pride and togetherness coming from the players on social media last night. They're giving each other the props and respect you'd expect from any group of teammates. You expect them to have each other's back. But mixed in with all of that, hidden in there, maybe not hidden in there, but mixed in with all of that, there's a little bit of a let's prove everyone wrong theme, almost like a, we can't wait to show you what we know type of attitude. Knowing what you know of the team, maybe speak a little bit more to that chemistry, how it's turning out to be a key storyline early in the season, and maybe is there a benefit to them being, at the Bell House and being there all together?
Yeah, definitely. And to start off, they definitely they're out here to prove something this season. A lot of people doubted them. A lot of people weren't taking them seriously. A lot of people might have been calling them washed up, even in the community. And these guys have been showing that they're anything but, coming out here to start the season with 2 big wins against 2 great teams. And again, yeah, like you said, their camaraderie there at the Bell Five House they're probably going even closer, because these are guys, like I said, have played together for years online, but now they're actually living together, and they've become probably 5 of the best friends I can imagine there. And to see this execute now onto the court is really special. I think it's something that we're only going to see grow.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely agree. The team has definitely used that chemistry to come hot out of the gates with their win last night, putting them at 2-0 to begin the season. Again, their best start in franchise history. Michael, thank you again for joining me, and congrats to you and the team on the early success.
Hey, no problem. Let's go Raptors Uprising.
Make sure you guys check out Michael on Twitter at Michael Singh 94. After opening things up with a back-to-back set, the team won't be playing again until May 12 when they take on Grizz Gaming. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Raptors GC. On behalf of Michael Singh, I'm Christian Charisma. Thanks again for listening to the Win by 2 post-game show, and catch you guys again next time.